Hello students, welcome to Legacy IAS Academy. In today's video, we are going to discuss about the Nobel Prize that has been awarded in the area of physics. So, who are the people who have been awarded this prize, and what is the contribution they have made in the physics? That is what we will try to understand in this day. So, first of all, to give you the brief context of this particular topic, recently the Nobel Committee has decided to award the Nobel Prize for the year 2024 to two physicists, that is John Hopfield and Geoffrey Hinton. Okay, he is the John Hopfield, and as you can see, he is Geoffrey Hinton. Now, John Hopfield, who is 91 years old, is an American scientist and has been long respected, especially in the field of biological physics. On the other hand, if we talk about the Hinton, he is 76, is a British Canadian citizen and has been called as also the godfather of artificial intelligence. In this context, he was actually in the news also when he cautioned against the dangers or the threats of the artificial intelligence, that also we are going to discuss in the later part of the slides. So, if we try to understand that what is the contribution they have made to be awarded with Nobel Prize. So, in simple terms, we can say that they have used the tools from the physics and they have constructed such methods that we can say has helped in laying down the foundation for the powerful machine learning. In simple term, machine learning can be explained or defined as the use of data as an algorithm which is used for teaching artificial intelligence how to mimic the human brain or how to analyze any situation, scenario or come with a solution in the similar pattern or the way how human brain works around it. So, that is what we can call as machine learning. So, the foundation of machine learning has been laid down by the contribution of these two Nobel laureates. That is how we can explain it. Now, John Hopfield, if talk about, he has created a structure that can store and reconstruct information. On the other hand, Geoffrey Hinton, he has invented a method that independently discovered properties in data and which has become important for the large artificial neural networks which are in use these days. Again, artificial neural network we try to understand. These are a kind of network on which artificial intelligence work, and it again also try to mimic the way how human brain works, because in human brain we have lot of neurons and these neurons then connect and interact with each other, and that is how we are able to memorize something, we are able to recall something from our memory, we are able to basically analyze some situation. So, similarly in the artificial intelligence they are using neural nodes that we can call, and these neural nodes are trying to mimic the working of neurons in the human brain. So, for the large artificial neural networks which are in use, that is where the Geoffrey Hinton has largely contributed to. So, let us try to understand these in more detail. So, if we try to understand first of all that what is the relation or how AI and human brains are related with each other or how they are similar or dissimilar. Now, first of all, if we talk about the human brain, we know that human brain broadly accumulates and processes any kind of information in three different ways. First is something that we can call as by observation, that is by noticing the world around it. Second, through memory, by recalling something that a human brain might have encountered or noticed in the past. And third is through the effort it puts in learning of new things, and here actually the neurons play a very important role. Here the human brain can also think using the stored information for various purposes. Now, as the Nobel website has pointed out clearly, there is a limitation in the artificial intelligence or what you can call as the artificial brain. In this context, the Nobel this website has clearly stated that today's the artificial intelligence or machine, as if we talk about them, they can't think actually, but what they can do is they can copy the human functions of memory and learning, and that is how they are trying to mimic it. For example, let us try to understand from a simple example that how human brain and AI is different. In human brain, even if a small child, we take example of a small child, he can look at an animal and tell it is a cat, even if it is a species of cat the child has never encountered before. That means human brain here is trying to work by finding the similarities in the features. A child might have seen some other cat and he has memorized it in his memory or in his brain, the information is stored, and then he is trying to analyze and compare the two different diagrams, two different images, and based on that he is coming to the conclusion that yes, it is also a cat, however the species might be different. So this is something that is uniqueness of the human brain, which the artificial intelligence or machine is lacking. Now, if we try to teach a similar kind of skill to a machine, then it means that, for example, we will use the artificial intelligence, let us suppose, in the cancer detection. In this context, the objective of the artificial intelligence is to analyze and look at the different types of human cells, various different human cells, and then based on the similar kind of memory, it can tell that which cell is likely to be cancer affected. Because obviously the processing power of machine is very humongous, especially as compared to human brain, and this is something that we are trying to use here. And for teaching such kind of skills, basically a lot of work need to be done. Now this stage has been reached after decades of research, which at times flagged because the results were discouraging, especially in the 1980s, 1990s. And Hertzfield basically and Hinton together, they have worked separately, however, but still they were working in the same sector, same field, and they have made major contributions in this research. Now let us try to analyze the contribution of each of the scientists individually. So first of all, if we talk about the contribution of John Hertzfield, or what basically John Hertzfield has done. Now we can understand his contribution by first of all taking an example of perfume association. For example, let us suppose somewhere in some stage of your life, few years back or few decades back even, you might have used a certain kind of perfume which you have never used again. Now again, if you smell such kind of perfume, your mind immediately will be transported to the past and the memory will be triggered that is associated with the use of such perfume. Now such way of processing of human mind or the recalling of memory is what we refer as associative memory. Now an artificial network of nodes basically are trying to mimic similar things, and they are trying to store information mimicking the human brain in certain ways. So whenever artificial intelligence also gets some sort of trigger, it associates this trigger with a certain kind of memory it might have stored in its nodes. So this is the area where John Hertzfield has contributed. He has made a certain kind of machine where each node could store an individual value which is given a value of 0 or 1. And the Hertzfield network then can store patterns and has a method for recreating these patterns. So when the network is given an incomplete or slightly distorted pattern, the method can find the stored pattern that is most similar in nature. So this is something that we can say is the analysis part of the machine or the artificial intelligence where the John Hertzfield has contributed. On this area also work has already begun in the year 1980s, but the major breakthrough has been achieved in the recent year, and that is where the contribution of the Hertzfield can be highlighted. Now we talk about the contribution of Geoffrey Hinton, what exactly he has done. So we can also try to understand that he also started from the Hertzfield network itself and expanded it to build something new using idea from a statistical physics. And here he has used the theories or the formulas of a well-known Austrian physicist from the 19th century, that is Boltzmann. And he has made a machine that is also referred as a Boltzmann machine. Now the Boltzmann machine can learn not only from instructions but also from looking at the examples or by giving the examples. Let us say we have a trained Boltzmann machine, so it can recognize familiar traits information which it might not have previously seen. Now you can try to recollect the example that we have discussed before of a child seeing the cat, maybe of different species that it might have never seen before, but still based on his memory of cat, he can try to analyze the similarities and can reach the conclusion that this animal is, the photograph of the animal is also of a cat. So same thing can be done by the Boltzmann machine as well. Boltzmann machine can recognize an entirely new example if it belongs to a category found in the training material and differentiate it from the material that is dissimilar. So whatever memory or whatever technique or whatever we can say categories are stored in these nodes, in the memory nodes, the Boltzmann machine can try to compare it with the new information and try to analyze the similarity and dissimilarity, and based on that it can come to conclusion about the same traits. Now if we talk about the concerns, in the beginning we have discussed that while talking with a newspaper a few years back, Geoffrey Hinton has also tried to raise concern around the artificial intelligence, and here he has said that given the tools like ChatGPT, which is being used extensively in all the sectors, we can say it is scouring the internet for the information and provide it to the people. The problem is that there can be the final output that the chat GPT like features or the chat GPT like programs are creating is based on the information available on the internet. The problem is that internet might soon be flooded with false photos, videos, text and information, and if an individual or any organization even, if they are using the chat GPT, the average person would not be able to know what is true anymore, because it will be very difficult to differentiate between the real photograph, real videos, real text and what we can call as the rumors and the false photos and all that. Not only that, he has also talked about in detail that how there is a possibility in future that artificial intelligence can take away lot of human jobs, making it much more difficult for people to survive. So this is something that he has talked about. In this context also, the Nobel Prize committee, when it has released a press statement, has clearly mentioned that thanks to the work of the Hertzfield and Hinton, humanity now has a new item in its toolbox, that is Hertzfield network and the Boltzmann machine. However, deep learning by ANNs, artificial neural networks, will be used in the future. It depends on how we humans choose to use these incredibly potent tools. For example, again we can try to what we can say, go back in the past and try to understand that the use of atomic energy we can do in two ways, either for the peaceful generation of energy or for what we can say is causing catastrophic damage by launching a bomb. Now, how we will use the same thing in the area of artificial intelligence, whether we will use it for productive purposes or whether we will use it for destructive purposes, that largely is in our hands. So, with that conclusion, we can try, we have tried to understood the reason behind the award of Nobel Prize in Physics this year for these two Nobel laureates and what is the contribution. Thank you very much.